Hi, everyone. Adrienne Everheart, your feminine energy dating, relationship, and lifestyle coach. What really drives a man wild? What is it that all men crave to have with a woman? I'm going to share 5 characteristics directly from my wonderful, loving, hunky husband, Jeff.
Hello.
He's going to share with us 5 tips that all men desire to have in a woman. And we're just going to discuss what it means to have these characteristics and how they feel to a man and what they look like, and see if this is something you can't explore within yourself in your own feminine energy. Now, I have to start off by telling you that when I went to my husband today and I said, what are 5 things that really drive you wild about a woman? I was asking because I wanted to kind of get his feedback on some video ideas. I wasn't totally sure that we would end up doing a video together.
No, wasn't planned, but here I am.
But here he is. And I asked him, I said, hey, baby, what are 5 things that really drive a man, wild about a woman? And you said,
well, you're wearing this beautiful dress, and I just looked at you and I said, low-cut dress. Because, I like a little bit of a sexy dresser.
Okay.
A little bit of I like to see a little something, but you don't want to see too much. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a subtlety to it. But yeah, I do like what you're wearing today, and it turns me on.
Oh, all right.
Should we cut the video short?
Okay. So that's very sweet. Thank you. I mean, I'm showing a little bit of cleavage, but like not a ton. And honestly, this is a little out of my comfort zone from what I normally dress. But I fell in love with this. It's this beautiful floral print. I think it's a Free People dress. And it just felt right. It has a little smocked waist. I felt sexy and wonderful in it, but I do feel a little self-conscious. I still might take a safety pin and kind of close it. But you're telling us that men actually like to see like a little bit of cleavage. What if you are just meeting a girl for the first time? It's like a first date and she shows up.
I think for the first time, just because we men are men, I think if a girl shows too much, that might send maybe too much of a signal, like, maybe she's not waiting for the 3rd date or whatever that silly rule is. I feel like it might be good to go a little more subtle on the first date. That's just my opinion. Okay. I also, I think that helps with a little bit of the mystery, just not giving away too much at first.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Generally, would I like to see a little bit of the low cut or a little leg or skirt? Sure.
I'm listening. Continue.
Yeah. Well, it's nothing you don't know about me. But there's a fine line, I think, between like really sexy and like too much.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Mystery. Definitely be attractive, feel good, but we're married, and so I can get away wearing this. And going out to brunch and you just loving how I look or whatever is what you're saying. But on a first date, too provocative, sends the wrong signal, sends a little bit more of a signal that there's a sexual interest, not like I want to possibly have a loving long-term relationship with you.
And honestly, right? Yeah, we're married. If we go out and you look as dynamite as you do right now, and you got a little bit of cleavage showing, like I think there's a couple things that can happen there socially. You might get some men looking at you. They give you arrows, as I think you call them.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I know who you're going home with.
Aww.
You know what I mean? I think that's nice. It almost validates that. Oh yeah, I do have a really hot wife. Of course I know that. I don't need anybody to tell me. But if another man looks at you, I'm fine with that. I'm not as jealous of a person maybe as some other people. The other thing is, we were walking around yesterday and a girl commented on your dress.
Oh yeah.
And I love that. I love when other women come up to you and go, "Oh, that's a great dress."
Why do you love that?
And this happens a lot to you. I've known you for a long time, and you get so many comments from women who are strangers to you, to us. They just have to tell you how good you look or how much they love what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And I've always loved what you're wearing. I've always loved your fashion sense, your wardrobe. I just think your choices are great, and it's one of the things that attracts me to you. And I like, again, maybe it's a validation or something, but I like to see a woman tell you
that, nice.
Wow, you look nice.
That's nice. Yeah. I often describe men like feminine energy, masculine energy. Women, we're having this, pajama party or sleepover, and there's always the classic scene of the boys peering through the window. Like they want to see what women are doing. Like they want to see how we're acting around each other. And I've noticed even sometimes, like if I hug and kiss my mom goodbye, my stepdad looks at us like he could just almost start crying. And I think men really do like to see that feminine energy come together and be just soft and beautiful and celebrate being a girl.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
All right. So what is next on your list of what really drives a man wild in a woman?
Well, this is just me, and I'm not sure if this would be considered wild, but just highly attractive.
Okay.
Makes me just want to know that woman even more. Sense of humor. I think it's really important not just to be able to laugh at a guy's good joke or a funny story,
because guys like that,
but I also like the woman to make me laugh.
Okay.
If she can crack me up.
Okay.
Just good sense of humor, not take things too seriously. Whether it's I know it's hard on the first date, you're taking that very seriously. It's hard to just kind of loosen up. I think of our first date where right out of the gate, I was klutzy and had a menu and spilled water. And
it was a huge glass of water.
It was a huge glass of water and a huge menu, and I spilled it and you
didn't just spill it, baby.
Yeah.
You remember what happened to that?
It went all over the table.
No, the water, you opened up the menu. It was like a trifold menu. And that water went flying against the wall.
Yeah, it was spilling everywhere.
The cup hit the wall.
And
how strong he is.
I might have gone, oh my God, I just blew the date. I'm never going to see this girl again. But you just enjoyed it. It kind of broke the ice.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
And then what did I do?
And you did something with your glasses.
I also opened my menu.
Yeah.
And I had on my glasses. I opened this trifold menu and it knocked my glasses off my face.
So we were having menu issues.
In the first, sitting down, oh, nice to meet you, opening the menu. And this was just we were comedy of errors.
But to find a way to laugh at that and not take it too seriously, I think it really broke the ice for the date. And we had a blast.
Yes, we did.
We went downstairs and we got a booth and we just laughed all night. All I remember is laughing. And that's, for a person who loves just to laugh and a sense of humor and it just makes life so much easier. I think that's so important.
Can I share one more thing that happened on our first date? It was so hilarious. We were up top on the little rooftop bar, and then we came downstairs to eat, and they opened up a table for us, and the girl had wiped the table off. And she goes, does everything look okay? And he saw just this one little bit of paper from a straw. And you took your finger and you went, it is now. And then he's like, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. She's going to think we're clean meat freaks or something.
Yeah, well.
And then we started talking we kind of are. We're both very neat and organized. He's actually more neat and organized than I am. I don't know. I think just being who you are, laughing, having fun. I think when I always talk about a woman being an invitation to a man. And so when you are laughing, when he spilled that water and I laughed, I think that sort of set the precedent that I'm not going to take anything too seriously. We can just sit back and be fun and just have a good time, because that is the powerful thing about not being invested in the date. I already knew who I was in love with. I already knew that there was this other guy for me, and I couldn't have him. I couldn't be with him, but I was going to go out on a date with him. He was very nice, very charming. I had nothing to lose. I was zero invested. I think it's just a good quality to have. It just relaxes you, and you can just really be who you are instead of oh God, this guy might be the one. And then you get your hopes really sky high and you're all tense for the date. You can't laugh.
And you could have been another woman and I could have done the same thing, and she would have not laughed with me. She would have laughed at me.
What was she?
I might have gotten a sense of she was oh, gee, this guy.
Yeah.
And just kind of that little body language or smirk could have just made me nosedive and go, yeah, she's not going to want to see me again. But immediately you laughed with me, and then I laughed with you about the glasses, and we were off. And again, sense of humor. We try to have humor in our life always.
Sure.
And I remember when I was talking to my mom about you and living together, and she said, just never lose your sense of humor, which was interesting because my mom's not I don't think of her. Laughing. No, that was my dad. But that's what my mom said, and I thought I've taken that since and gone, yeah, she was so right about that. Where things might be dire, but hopefully the next day you can look at that and laugh.
I like that. I like that. Very important to look back and laugh. So we've got low cut dress.
Well,
we've got sense of humor. What's number 3 on your list?
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think to remain adventurous in the bedroom. I think when you first start having sex with your partner,
Okay.
and it usually, if you're both compatible, and both in any way adventurous, a lot happens. Anything can happen on a dime. You can be
Okay.
here and then
Spontaneous
suddenly you're
sex.
on the counter doing something, if
Okay.
you know, the kitchen counter. I think that to keep that spontaneity through years of whether it's relationship or engagement and then into marriage, I think it's really important to just never forget, never get into a routine too much. And there's things that you both like and need, but this is your moment. This is your moment with each other to be so personal and open, and there's a certain honesty to it that you don't get in any other aspect of life, and that's with you both naked, and just there's a playfulness to that and an openness to that, that allows you to bond.
Yeah, because you're like free with each other. You trust each other. But I think this is just credit to when you meet the right person and we're already laughing. We're already being playful with each other. We're already in this very relaxed and trusting, and my heart is unzipped and I'm vulnerable. But I think there was just this willingness to be open with each other and explore early on, because again, I had nothing to lose. Like I was in a place in my life where I was definitely not doing anything dangerous. I wasn't, being any type of, promiscuity or anything that was outside of like my comfort zones as far as it came to intimacy with a partner. I was very much sticking to my values. But when I met someone that I trusted and I felt comfortable with, I really didn't have anything to lose. I was open. And just willing for a new experience.
Well,
so we have carried that through in our relationship. I read stuff about, people getting bored sexually with their partner after X number of years or whatever. And I can honestly say, like, I don't feel an ounce of that with you. There's no part of my husband that I look at and I'm like kind of bored about. I know this isn't on your list, but we do sleep in separate bedrooms.
Yeah, we made I think the last video I made a couple of years ago was about that.
Yeah.
Controversial.
It was controversial. So many people were like, no, you need to have your man wrapping you up all night to sleep. And I would never sleep. Like if he can help me fall asleep in some ways.
I often do that, and then in various ways, and then I just kind of tiptoe out, let you sleep, and go to my room. It's again, like you can look up that video, but it's very healthy, and it does make the bedroom stuff a little more special because it's not part of our our routine, our kind of like boring day-to-day routine. It's special time. It's watching Bob's Burgers time.
Yes,
it's kissy time. It's foot rub time. It's sexual time. We both work from home, and we have as long as we've known each other.
Yeah.
We're around each other a ton. So I think just that little bit of space creates a little bit of what we need as individuals.
Yeah.
So,
and our beds are also like our bedrooms are back to each other.
Yeah, you sleep with your head on the mantle, and I sleep with my head on my mantle. Yeah. And that chimney is what divides it.
I knock on my wall. I knock, and he'll hear me knock, and he'll come to my room. Like if I need, a glass of water, or if I had a bad dream, or if I want some cuddles or something, he'll be there.
I always kind of laugh when you do that because I feel like I'm the dutiful husband. Like, well, there's my bell.
But it is very traditional. If you watch The Crown, for example, you'll know that the queen and the husband, they had separate bed chambers, but they had a connecting wall. There's something to this. I really encourage you explore it. There are a lot of different religions and things like that have different rules on what husband and wife sleeping separately. So whatever feels right for you, but I do think it does help with some sexual chemistry. Like I never go to bed and I feel like, oh, I wish I had you with me because I've already had you. I've had this wonderful experience with you. I don't necessarily need to sleep and gain my beauty sleep.
All we're doing is sleeping.
Right, we're just sleeping, and I prefer to do that alone.
Yeah, me too.
I like to sleep alone.
Yeah, it's been good for us.
It's expensive with hotels, but it's great at home.
Especially with one of you snores, and it's not her. Next. This is big for me, and this is again, I don't know if this is hot, but for me, it's a huge turn on when a woman is curious about life, about everything, because just based on previous relationship or dating experience, I've been with women who kind of feel like they got it all figured out, and there's just like this lack of wanting to search for new things, and they get caught in a rut really quickly. And on the other side of it, there are people that just don't challenge themselves. They get caught in their routine in life, whether it's kids or work or whatever,
or social media.
Like there's no,
right.
To me, I like a curiosity in the sense of like, let's go to a restaurant we don't think we're going to like. Let's go visit, let's go travel to a town or countryside that we never might have thought about. Like I've always said, like, I never want to go to Las Vegas, but I've actually started to think maybe I should go just because it'll throw, we could go together just to throw a wrench into something. And I'll bet we would find something interesting about it.
Yeah. We'll either hate it or love it, or we'll at least know.
But right? I'm a very naturally curious person. I like to know new things and learn new things. And however you learn that, whether it's formal classes or reading, I'm very kind of a personal didact. I like to just take on different kinds of reading and learn things on my own.
We do a lot of like watching documentaries. And when I first met you, I talk about having your rich, juicy, full life. When you met me, was my life not rich, juicy, and full?
Totally.
Right. I was taking multiple classes. I had lots of projects going on.
I liked how curious you were.
Yeah.
I like that it's just the general lust for life. And I have had relationships where the person is just not changing. They're not learning anything new. They're not trying to explore or challenge themselves with something that they think they don't like.
Yes.
Because the only way we find out if we have a new interest or anything is to break that barrier
out of your comfort zone.
Go get out of exactly. That's what it is.
Do you feel like you get out of your comfort zone enough for me?
Sometimes no, but I am really happily engaged in the things that I'm into.
Right.
And I feel like even within those pursuits, I'm learning and remaining curious.
Because I think it is
trying new music, trying new books, trying new movies.
But in the relationship, you want to bring something to the table.
Absolutely.
You want to bring something to the table more than just like, what they call maintenance conversation, like who picked up the kids and is everything on time and did we, do this chore. I think that's something that curiosity, like it goes both ways. Like you like how curious. And I think like sometimes like you got into gardening big time in the last 3 years. Like he was naturally curious in it. And sometimes he'll come to me and say, well, what should I do with this plant? And I'll say, oh, you can figure it out. Go research it. Or if you can research that and you do it. It's a completely different feeling in our relationship when he does that.
Yeah.
Because he'll come to me with some additional information I didn't know about. I love that. I like the curiosity one. I think that's a cool one.
You ready for the last one?
I'm ready for the last one.
We do this to each other, but I know that you, I'll talk from my perspective. I like when you give me these little random touches.
Yeah.
And not, it's often in moments where I don't expect it. We might be doing dishes and you might just touch me a little bit. I think little things like that are huge.
Right.
I think they're a big turn on. They cause a little connection because, if you live with each other, your day to day will have some mundane elements to it. It's life.
Well, you're not here to be constantly entertained.
Of course not. We have to do dishes. We have to talk about mundane things.
If I like touch his hair and push his hair behind his ear or, preening.
Braid my hair.
His hair is longer than mine. But, I think when you're in a relationship with someone and you're affectionate, you might think, oh, that's leaning forward, Adrienne. You're leaning forward. Well, I also want you to understand that I'm not doing that all the time. Especially if you have a partner that his love language, which I don't think a love language should dominate your relationship, but I'm very aware that my partner likes to be touched. Who doesn't? You know, my little dog comes and sits in my lap and gets a massage every night. You know, we humans, we need touch, and we need to know that we're validated and we're cared for. One of my favorite things I do is when we're driving in the car, I will pick up his hand and I'll kind of like hold his hand or squeeze the fingers. I don't do it like when we're in busy traffic and things like that. He needs both his hands, but I just think any moment you can kind of touch your partner and just, you know, melt them a little bit whenever they touch you. Like if your partner's not touching you enough, when he does touch you, just let him know how good it feels.
You have done that. I was
do.
actually also thinking of driving, be on the interstate, and you're over here, and I'll just put my hand on your leg. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just a tiny connection that can feel big. You know.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
And it always feels so warm when your hand is on my leg. You know, I love it. And I do tell him, I'm like, oh, it feels so warm, or oh, it feels so good. I let him know how good he's making me feel. How does it feel when I tell you like I'm feeling good? Like you've just done something that makes me feel good. How does it feel to you?
Well, of course, it's empowering. It feels lovely. It fills me up.
Oh, that's nice. Well, we'll just say thank you for joining us. I hope this has been, you know, fun for you and get a little peek inside our marriage and 5 things that drive men wild, or as you said, not wild, but just
turn-ons.
Just turn-ons.
Turn-ons, and turn-ons lead to, you know, wild.
Oh, okay.
They can. They create that bond. They create that good feeling, that harmony, and then you can take that to its logical extreme.
It builds. All right, everybody. Sending you much love. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.